Oh, that's a great way to start. Wow, that was a week off. Look behind the curtain. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Coin Drop podcast. This is episode 44, and I'm going to go ahead and start it off by apologizing for the unannounced week off. Yeah, that's on me. I was working on my project pretty late Friday night. I looked down at the clock and it was midnight, and I was like, cool, I've got about an hour to try and figure this out. And next time I looked at the clock, it was 4 a.m. So did not get enough sleep to be even remotely functioning. Can't even functionable. Yes, functionable. Yesterday or last Saturday.
Close enough to a real word.
Yeah, still banging my head against that wall trying to make this shit work, but we make do with what we have. Tim, how you been, man? It's been a full week. What have you been up to?
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
I've been playing. So I beat the remake 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we discussed
and
that.
So I started. Yeah, and then I started on Crisis Core, and I've only gotten to like chapter 3, something like that. So I'm not super far into it.
Okay.
Didn't play really jack shit all week. More or less, I've been quite busy.
Yeah.
Uber's been taking my time, but it's been making me feel better as far as finances go. So there's that.
Nice. Believe it or not, I played my first video game this year today.
And it wasn't fucking Helldivers, you piece of shit.
Yeah, it wasn't even on a computer. It wasn't even a game from this century.
Oh, jeez. Wait.
Mm-hmm.
How old was it?
It was the X-Men arcade cabinet.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah, I was at my sister-in-law's bridal shower thing, and they did like a joint bridal shower stag party thing, and they did this axe throwing range. And I was like, fuck that axe throwing range. I'm going to go play X-Men because I'm wearing the shirt.
Nice. So that was today then?
That was today, yeah, that was today. So it was the first time I've played video games since the beginning of the year. So I banged my way through the old arcade cabinet and put my name on it, scored over 1,000 points. Pretty happy with myself. Nightcrawler's the only way to play that game solo. Just best character of the game, hands down. But yeah, that was enjoyable. Then, threw some axes, had some drinks, was a good time.
Sounds like it.
Other than that, life's been hectic, a lot going on. But we'll talk about some video game stuff here in just a minute. I'm going to also say that, Twitch viewers, I apologize. I set up some screens ahead of time. We decided to make some changes in the lineup, so I don't have a lot to show you tonight. It is what it is. You're listening to a podcast. It's a podcast. Occasionally we have visuals. We have had some new followers. I don't know if you've been talking us up on Twitter, but I've seen a couple of new people following us on Twitch. So thank you to the new followers, to everybody checking us out. We appreciate it. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your mom we said hi. Said it early this time.
You said it very early this time.
So let's jump into it, Tim. You said you had some stuff with the Xbox Partners Showcase or something like that showed off to a couple games, some Vitcha games.
Yeah. So they call it the Xbox Partner Preview. It is a third-party based event where they showed off games from their partners. Hence the name. And they showed off 14 games. All but one of them is coming to other platforms as well, PlayStation, PC, or Switch, depending on the title we're looking at. And they showed off some interesting games. They seemed like to be mostly closer to a AA/indie variety. Like, they weren't majority of the, like, there was really no big banger titles that were, say akin to Spider-Man or Starfield or whatever. It was just, the different titles that are a little bit lower on the budget, but that doesn't mean they look bad in any single way. So I'm going to go ahead and name the ones that I don't really care to talk about. So if you are interested, I'll give you like a really small synopsis. But yeah, ultimately I'm going to choose what to talk about here. So one of the titles was called Sleight of Hand. We don't really know anything about it other than the fact that it is a third-person stealth-focused noir deck builder.
God damn it. Deck builders, man. Fuck.
Yes.
You had me so good. The first couple of words are, I'm like, noir, yeah, deck builder.
You know what makes it worse? It's inspired by MGS. And so I'm just like, why? I agree with you. I'm not a big fan of deck builders.
Yeah.
There was a trailer for it, but it didn't show any gameplay, so you really can't get an idea of what it's about.
Yeah, I'm pulling
There
up the
is
trailer
another
now.
one. There's another one called Creatures of Ava. It's a action adventure game about taming and protecting the creatures to rescue a planet from a life-threatening infection. It sounds to me like they're basically stealing the idea of Horizon Forbidden West as far as the general storyline.
No spoilers. Still haven't played it.
It's, I mean that's just that's this general story of the game, and the game tells you that in the trailer. So
Okay.
I didn't spoil nothing.
Gotcha.
This one's a cel-shaded title, and they look like alien monsters and stuff. It's whatever. It's a title. The one that looks the most odd to me is Roblox is getting a dedicated horror themed game thing, and it focuses on Chucky.
So I'm not too surprised about that. I scroll through YouTube occasionally, and I've seen some like actually really interesting games that are like in the horror genre that people have built in Roblox. So I'm not terribly surprised at that. But Chucky is a choice.
I mean, if to my knowledge, anyways, this is one of the first or the biggest crossovers they've ever had. So this will give them some attention. Although Roblox is already stupid freaking popular.
Yeah,
so,
it kind of blew me away when I found out how popular that game is.
Yeah, all right. The only thing I can think of is maybe perhaps they're trying to combat Fortnite, but obviously it's a very different game. But Fortnite now has the ability to create everything in it a la Roblox.
Yeah.
But it's prettier. So
yeah,
we'll see. Anyways. Don't really personally care to talk about this. If you want to, we can, but there's an old game, which most people are probably aware, because Stalker 2 is coming out soon, exclusively for Xbox and PC, at least for a time.
Yep.
I actually want to say that they announced that it only has like 3 months exclusivity, something like that. Anyways, the original game and all of its expansions, although they're calling it a trilogy, oddly enough, at least I don't know. I always thought they were expansions rather than new games. Anyways,
I think they're standalone stories, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time since I played it, but I think they were standalone stories.
Gotcha. Well, they're combining them into a package, and they have already released it for both Xbox and PC.
Did they do any kind of graphical upgrades, any frames, anything like that, or is it just a flat port?
From the trailer, to me, it looked like a flat port. However, Xbox does have that what do they call it? HDR built in, and upscales, all this other stuff. So the Xbox version will at least have that. I imagine that it's probably got your base frame rate increase.
It did say
what
was this? It said here in a second. It said enhanced for consoles.
Okay,
so maybe it's control base, maybe it's frames, maybe it's who knows. But
who knows, yeah.
Seriously, if you guys are looking forward to Stalker 2, you've never played Stalker 1 and the expansions, standalone stories, highly recommend it. Definitely pick this game up if you like FPSs that are like
difficult.
Yeah, I mean
that's fucking brutal.
That's the best way to put. I mean, it is definitely a punishing game for sure, but it is so much fun. So
yeah, it was one that I tried to get into like soon after it first came out, and I wasn't prepared for it. Mm-hmm. And I remember giving up pretty quickly, but I was also really young. I was like 13 or 14 or something like that.
Yeah, it was
nope.
It took me 2 or 3 tries to play it because it's definitely one of those games you got to be in the mood for. You know what I mean? Like I remember when the movie Drive came out, and everybody said like, "Oh, it's such a great movie, it's such a great movie." And I watched it. I'm like, "Nah, fuck this movie." And I'm like, I don't think I was in the right mood for that movie, so I gave it another chance and just was like ready for it. It is a fantastic fucking movie, and Stalker's kind of the same way in that vein.
I've got a feeling that there's a movie I've watched that's like that because everyone talked it up and I couldn't stand it. Dunkirk. I thought Dunkirk was the most boring shit I've ever watched. It was so fucking terrible, if you ask me. But whatever. Anyways,
I think you gotta. Yeah, I think that's one you got to go back to because it's
maybe.
I can see why you would think that because going into that expecting something akin to like Saving Private Ryan or any of the old school World War II movies.
I just thought it was good.
I mean,
but it wasn't.
Yeah, that's surprising considering that you like Memento, and Memento is told in fragments like that, and so is Dunkirk. And I don't know, I love Dunkirk, but then again, I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fanboy, so I still need to see Oppenheimer. But yeah, Dunkirk I think was really good. They did a good job building the suspense, but that's just me.
Gotcha. So the next game not worth talking about. Stalker was. Keep in mind of that. But the next game not worth talking about. There's a new Monster Jam game, which is Monster Trucks. Yay, 2024.
Yay. Get
Persona
your truck
3
on.
is getting a Persona 3 is getting a expansion pass. The Persona 3 Reload. It has the epilogue from Persona 3 FES, which was the director's cut or something like that, or maybe FES was the PSP. I can't remember at this point. But there's extra stuff coming to it, as well as background music and other stuff. So I don't know if they're going to have anything new, like new content other than. But yeah. Anyways.
Sinking City 2. I'm looking at the list right now, watching the trailer. I know you had tagged me in this in the chat, in the Discord at some point. I'm pretty glad to hear that got a sequel, and I'm still mad that I haven't played the first one.
Honestly, kind of surprised it did, because it was such a
it was a subtle hit. It was a subtle hit. They definitely didn't
hit. Yeah, it wasn't really big. Yeah.
It's one that I could see in a couple of years, people being like, holy shit, this game was on point. Like, I don't even know what the sales were of the first one. What were the sales?
Obviously good enough to make a sequel.
I mean, yeah.
But no, I skipped over that one because I figured we would actually want to talk about that one. I was trying to make my way through the list of games. Whatever.
We're all just talking here. So.
It don't matter. But what'd you get for sales? You find them yet?
Yes. Looks like revenue. They made $2.4 million on it year to date.
Not bad. Depends on how much it cost them to make.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what engine they built it on. It was moderately reviewed. It only cost $40, so $2.4 million is still pretty good when you consider it wasn't a full price game. Sinking City is great if you're into Lovecraftian horror, kind of. I wouldn't say quite Souls-like gameplay, but it definitely had like your bullets are also your money, if I remember correctly. So it's
so like Metro.
Yeah, kind of like Metro, I guess. Yeah, I think kind of like Metro. But I watched a bit of gameplay of it. I was like, this game looks dope, and I never got a chance to play it. But I'm glad to see that they're getting a sequel, and hopefully I'll find time to play the first one, because if you like Lovecraftian horror, this is it, It's literally about Cthulhu.
Reviews are all over the place too. Some of you got as high as almost a 9 out of 10, 8.5, as to as low as 3 out of 10.
Yeah,
that's pretty impressively bad.
Yeah,
and that came from GameSpot too. The 3 out of 10.
Wow.
In any case, it's reviews are all over the place. But if you like Lovecraftian horror, as he states, it's worth looking into for sure.
Hell yeah.
But the sequel is coming at that point. I can't remember what they said as far as release date, if they said anything about a release date for that matter.
I'm not sure that they did, but yeah.
It doesn't look like here, because all the other titles that have release dates, they've mentioned them in the little blurb underneath it.
Yeah.
Frostpunk 2 is getting a release date of July 25th.
That's another surprising one that they made a sequel. I didn't think that game did that well. I played it at PAX.
It actually did. It did.
I played it at PAX when it was new, and like the guy just wasn't there, so I didn't know. It was like in the middle of the game, so I'm like, what the fuck is happening? What am I doing? There's nobody here. I'm like, fuck it. Okay.
Frostpunk is like a survival game, but city builder at the same time, right?
Yeah, survival city builder. So you basically go to Antarctica or something, and it's like the last area of the planet that's not super frozen or something like that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's the last bastion of humanity, survivable, even though it's still really, really difficult.
Yeah.
It's like SimCity meets a survival game meets a city builder, not SimCity, but city builder like a strategy game.
Yeah.
Like that.
I watched a full play of a guy who he didn't like, a really small YouTuber, don't remember his name now, but like I'd fucking just smashed through his videos, and he didn't talk at all, so it was great. I just got to experience the game, and it looked like a cool game, but it was not something I would play. Like, there's choices, and like your choices affect your people, and yeah, it's interesting. He actually played. I watched him do it 2 times, and both times he failed. Like his population just died, and it's like, damn, that's brutal.
I actually remember before the first one came out, back when we originally had our podcast, you were actually pretty stoked for this one.
I was, man. I was super interested in it, and then I was really disappointed when I went to PAX and played it, and I was like, okay, well, never mind then.
For me.
Yep.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't for me from the outset. It looked cool, but like the idea is really intriguing, but the gameplay is just not my style.
Yeah.
The next one, which is awesome news for the 10 players that are going to play it, Final Fantasy XIV launches on Xbox on March 21st.
The 10 players. I think we'll get a few more than 10.
I say 10 because not only is it like ridiculously late to the party, two, the Xbox is barely selling, so much so that actually even Xbox's previous CEO is recently stated that Xbox right now is more than likely debating if it's even worth staying in the hardware game, even though Phil has stated the opposite of that. And, we already have our suspicions and have mentioned that. Mm-hmm. Anyways, I say that because mostly to play the game, you have to pay the $15 a month to play it, but you also have to have Xbox Live Gold.
Yeah.
Game Pass, whatever, which is fucking retarded. So a lot of people aren't going to want to have to pay on top of paying, which is,
I guess that's a fair point. But at the same time, like, if you're already paying for Xbox Live, it's not that big a deal that you'd have to pay for an MMO as well. I mean, because like when I played 11 with you, right? Like I didn't have to pay for Xbox Live to play 11 with you, but I still had Xbox Live. You know what I mean? Yeah. I just paid the additional cost of like playing the game. So
yeah, I fully understand that. I mean, people on the PlayStation that don't have to have PlayStation Plus probably have PlayStation Plus for other games.
Yeah,
like it's somewhat of a non-issue, but like, I can't imagine there's Xbox players that have been waiting for it to come out to the console.
Yeah, not likely.
Just for them to buy the game.
Not
you know what
likely.
I mean? Like most people by this point, considering it came out like 11 years ago, something like that now, 2013. So yeah, almost 11 years ago. I'm pretty sure everyone that wants to play it or that's wanted to play it already has a console that can play it and plays it on that console. So
or even a PC. You don't even need a high-end PC to play it.
Yeah, or they play on PC and now they have an Xbox, they have an Xbox, so this might be an easier place for them to play, so they'll just buy a license for it. I guess that's possible, but I can't imagine it's going to bring new people to the table.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, I hope it does. I mean, that'd be great. The more people play it, the better, because it's a phenomenal MMO, So
more is better.
That's just my thought. Yeah, obviously 10 is hyperbolic, but still.
Right.
All right, so that was the quick run through of the no-name games. Or the ones I don't really care to talk about. But did you watch the trailer for the Unknown 9 Awakening yet?
I don't see that one on here.
That's the Assassin's Creed like-ish one.
Yeah.
I say it that way because you play a female and she.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm pulling it up.
Yeah,
now.
she looks like she belongs in an Assassin's Creed game, but it looks like it has climbing, a la Assassin's Creed. It actually looks like what's the most recent Assassin's Creed?
Mirage.
I can't remember the title at the moment. Mirage, yeah. It almost looks like it belongs in.
And I know it. God damn it.
I know it. It just was skipping my mind. But it looks like it belongs in Mirage. Like it's that timeline almost. I could be wrong, but it looks like it belongs there. But I mean, even the way she walks on. Yeah. Even the way she walks on planks looks like it's from Assassin's Creed, But it also has this body swapping feature where you can take over enemies and use them to your advantage. But it also seems to have some sort of a time.
I'm seeing that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's hard to tell exactly what it is, but it looks like Singularity, which had that option for like stopping time or controlling time in order to help you.
Could have been so good.
I know the storyline was really good. I really love that game.
Yeah, they just overpromised. I think they tried to do something really ambitious and just didn't work out for them.
Yeah. So this game looks like it's like a mixture of multiple games in one. It's definitely not a big AAA title, but. I mean, actually, the industry's kind of talking about that these days, where like scope needs to be brought down because games are costing way too fucking much and not selling enough.
I have some theories on that, but I mean, that's another topic. I have some thoughts on that, but
that's actually could be a fun topic. I mean, even Sean Layden, the ex-PlayStation CEO, said it as much, and I kind of agree with him. I mean, just look at all these indie titles that are just exploding. Look at Helldivers. Look at Pal World. Look at what are the other really big one that came out recently? Indie titles are basically blowing up right now, and they're clearly smaller budgets, but obviously gamers don't need all the time God of War and Spider-Man and all these major several $100 million projects.
All right, so to break it down as simply as I can. Without getting into way too much detail, I think, from my perspective, this is a twofold issue. The big budget studios are too focused on specialists. Every department is split out to specialists. You've got lighting specialists, you've got shadow specialists, you've got mesh specialists, you've got collision specialists. There's not enough
before you continue, Unreal Engine 5 seemingly is trying to get rid of that.
Well, so
am I right or wrong?
Yesn't. So that's the second issue.
Say that word again.
Yesn't. Yesn't is yes and no. Yesn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah,
Okay. I thought that's what it meant. Anyway,
yeah,
keep going.
it's a word my buddy made up. I mean, I don't know if he made it up, but like he coined it around me.
He
and I was
uses
like,
it, yeah.
I was like, that's a good one. I'm stealing it. So it's a twofold issue, right? It's the large industry is too focused on specialists. They don't have general engine workers. On top of that, most of these big studios are still using their created engine because UE4, if I remember correctly, did not live up to what the industry wanted in the engine, or it was too complex. I can't remember exactly the ins and outs there, but basically 4 wasn't what the industry wanted, so all of these studios, Santa Monica, Sucker Punch, everybody that's a big AAA studio basically built their own engines. And while engines are ultimately mostly the same, that was more cost effective at the time.
They're built for the project in mind.
Exactly. Yeah. That was more cost effective at the time because they could control exactly what was written into the code for that engine. That's not the case anymore. That's extremely expensive to continue to do and maintain, and in comparison to Unreal, which streamlines a ton of shit for you. I mean, I was looking at just random information. I was looking at like MetaHuman, because MetaHuman, when they showed that last year, was fucking mind-blowing. You can literally, as an independent, literally get an iPhone 12, strap it to your fucking monitor, and live link to facial record your face onto a mesh in Unreal Engine 5. That same process, which won't look as good, which doesn't work as fluidly from my understanding, is like tens of thousands of dollars. Yeah, like it's tens of thousands of dollars to do in any other software, because
they've just given it to you in their software.
Basically, yeah. And the only thing you need to buy is a iPhone 12. So like, I think that's a big part of it. Is the industry is downsizing now because AI is a huge tool. I mean, it's insane. I still think big budget companies have no fucking business cutting jobs in favor of AI. That's bullshit. You're a big budget studio. If you want to be a big budget studio, you should take on the burden of employing a bunch of people, not utilizing tech that small developers should be utilizing. Just my personal opinion.
Yeah. Side tangent.
Yeah, but like I think it's mostly a two-pronged issue there. Is like the cost of these engines that these devs made are overburdened, and they have too many specialized technicians. They don't have general technicians anymore when it comes to
sounds like
engine.
a lot of I don't know what the appropriate word, it's not industry, but like colleges and schools have the same issue with board members, and government has it with, you know, people in the fucking government. There's way too damn many of them, and all these industries are just like bloated with bullshit. I mean, like the whole DEI movement, like forcing company. Anyways. Speaking of that, there's actually a controversy going on. Effectively, a Gamergate 2. It's just called SBI. It's called SBI instead. It's been blowing up over the past week. Long story short with that, which we could easily talk about this for a long time, but I'm going to make it short. If you guys feel like looking it up, go ahead and do so. There's a company called Sweet Baby Inc., and there's actually quite a lot of companies like this, but basically they're consultancy companies that are pretty much all super far left, and I mean all extremely super far left companies that go in, and in some cases, because they actually have videos of their like training software, or not software, sorry, training videos for the companies. They basically say, do as we say, or we're going to scare the shit out of you, so you do as we say. And
well, that doesn't seem totalitarian at all.
And the only reason this blew up was because some guy who's presumably far right, I don't know, at the very least he's not left, he found out about Sweet Baby Inc. and the companies that they had helped with, which is actually quite a lot, and the majority of them have been massive ass failures lately. Suicide Squad being a perfect example. Anyways, he then decided he wanted to make a curator's list on Steam, which is, you know, whatever. It literally didn't say anything about it other than Sweet Baby Inc. has made these games. And there was a list, nothing else. He didn't give his opinions, didn't say anything bad about them.
Just put out the information. That's the right way to do it.
Right. And so someone within Sweet Baby Inc. didn't like that. And they tried to dox the guy. They tried to get his account taken from him, basically cancel him from the internet. Thankfully, Steam was like, fuck you, that's stupid. It's just a list. And basically, just like Gamergate, all of gaming journalism came out in defense of SBI, Sweet Baby Inc., and were just totally ignoring all of the facts and information, basically saying everyone's going nuts over these guys for no reason. It's like, no, they tried to dox somebody for doing nothing.
Yeah.
It's just giving out information. But
Yeah.
it's effectively Gamergate too, and there's a lot of information coming out. These people are literally verifiably, because they have posts on Twitter and various other places of basically being sexist, racist douchebags. And anyways, it's bad. It's good. It's blowing up quite a bit.
It sounds like back in the day.
I don't even tend to talk about that.
It sounds like back in the day when Anthem came out and the news section started blowing up saying that Anthem was bricking PlayStation 4s. And I got in that argument with the guy on Facebook, like, no, dude, all of these are referencing one single post from one guy on Reddit, and they're misquoting him. It shut his system down. Like, it rebooted it. That happens. It just crashed it, man. I've done that with Dragon Age Inquisition. Like, this is not a thing. It's not bricking systems. And that guy was like, "No, they are." I was just like, "Oh," and then it came out like, "Oh yeah, this is all one guy."
Yeah, I think there's only ever been one verifiable game that I can think of that was actually bricking, not consoles, but graphics cards, like an AMD graphics card or something like that. That's like the only time it's ever been like they actually came out and was like, "Yeah, we fucked up on that one."
Yeah.
But anyways. Yeah. So misinformation, it's very common. Who would have thought?
Wild.
But right. So it's been interesting, to say the least.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting week. I honestly kind of forgot about it, but yeah. When Akira Toriyama died, my Twitter went from SBI to Akira Toriyama and his ridiculous amounts of influence on the industry. Like, I actually found out that pretty much all of gaming, and that's obviously a bit hyperbolic, but that's literally only a bit. Gaming, anime, pop culture, like, so much of it is influenced by Akira Toriyama. It's insane. When I tell you, like, just listen to this. Listen to this. This is legit and true. The Mexican cartel announced a ceasefire in honor of Akira Toriyama.
What?
I was like, what? Apparently the Southern America
really loves Dragon Ball Z, I guess.
Fucking loves DBZ. Yes, like they like, apparently they're bigger fans than pretty much everywhere else in the world. When I found that out, I was pretty blown away. My wife's like, you didn't read a bullshit article? Like, no. When I first saw it, I thought it was some bullshit too, and I looked into it. Yep, no, it's true.
Wild.
That guy has some wild reach. I mean, Mario was influenced by him, and Naruto and all the other things.
How was Mario influenced by Dragon Ball?
So actually, it's not Dragon Ball. It's Akira Toriyama, one of his original anime or mangas. As a perfect example, remember when in one of the original Mario's, it's got him. He's running with his arms out, like the Naruto run, except for back, it's just sideways.
Yeah, that was Super Mario
Toriyama did that.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Akira Toriyama made that run with one of his old animes.
Oh, okay.
Or mangas, rather.
Okay.
And various other things. He's just influenced so much that it's rather impressive. And to see the community come behind him, I mean, even Final Fantasy the 14, the community came together and made vigils all over the different servers and stuff. And I actually finally downloaded or installed rather Dragon Ball Z Kakarot because I've been meaning to play it since 2020, and so I also bought the entire series so I can watch it with my kids.
I got. I'm gonna say it once. I fucking hate that TV show. I like the man. Don't get me wrong. I fucking hate Dragon Ball Z, and it's not his fault. It's the amount of filler episodes there were in Dragon Ball Z, dude, was disgusting. There was so much filler.
Watch them? How much of them did you watch?
Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah.
Oh, I've seen it all at least once.
Oh, okay.
I've seen because I've seen up to. Where does it end? Hold on. I remember Boo.
Dragon Ball Z ends at Boo.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it ends at Boo.
I remember Boo, and then I watched like the first episode of GT or something like that.
GT, yeah.
But
GT wasn't GT wasn't Toriyama, and effectively is non-canon.
Right.
Although
it's also kind of canon, and then there's Super, which I haven't watched at all because I'm off the Dragon Ball Z thing. It's not his fault. The anime sucks. The anime sucks because. The anime sucks because the anime was trying to stay.
There's a lot of filler.
Yeah, there's a lot of filler because the anime was like right alongside the manga, which is what he was writing. But the manga was taking so long that they had to like make filler shit, and it's just
Naruto did the same thing. A lot of anime does that, unfortunately.
I hate it.
On the positive side, there is a Dragon Ball Z version where they cut all the bullshit out.
I've heard that's Kai or something like that.
Correct. Dragon Ball Z Kai. Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm just like, I don't even rewatching it again. I don't think I have it in me.
I think Kai cuts out like 100 episodes.
That doesn't surprise me. That sounds right. Dude, the amount of... my thing, too, is like the animation style is just kind of lazy. I've always kind of felt that way about Dragon Ball Z.
This was like early 90s, so...
Look, man,
it's hard to...
So was Cowboy Bebop. All I'm saying
Cowboy Bebop was like 30 episodes. So,
yeah, but it was fantastic. And the movie, dude, the fight scenes, it's just unparalleled.
DBZ,
Anyways.
so Super does fix that, by the way.
Okay.
Super is significantly better as far as animation quality and stuff. Although, oddly enough, didn't start that way. When it came out, like, I could have sworn it was a fucking fan art project. Like,
I remember hearing about that, yeah.
Yeah, the movie came out first.
Yeah, and everybody's like, "What is this trash tier animation?"
No. The movie was phenomenal.
Oh,
The movie was like just as good as old school animation, and then the show came out shortly after, and the show was the fan art animate. Like, it was awful.
Gotcha.
And then after, I think, the first season or whatever you call it, they actually went back and remastered a lot of it. It still kind of sucks, but it's better than it was.
Gotcha.
And then subsequent seasons or whatever fixed it. I think it's something like 150 episodes.
Gotcha.
In any case, it's a lot better.
Yeah.
And actually, there's a recent movie that came out that rectifies. Thank God, because I've been hating Gohan since he fought Cell.
That was the last good thing he did.
Yeah, exactly. They made Gohan not suck again.
Cool.
Thankfully.
Cool.
Especially because, like, episode 1, they were talking about how powerful he was.
Yeah.
maybe 2, but either way.
Yeah. I don't want to get stuck on it too long, but yeah, like looking back on Dragon Ball Z, like at the time, don't get me wrong, as a kid growing up in the 90s, 2000s, it's great. But looking back on it and being like, oh, slow pan, flash over here, line, flash over here, line, fake fist lines. Yeah.
Next episode on Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, not a great anime.
I don't know the episode count, but now I'm curious. When he's building the what do they call it? The big blue bomb.
Spirit Bomb? How many
Spirit Bomb?
episodes?
Yeah, when he's building the Spirit Bomb for Cell or Boo, one of the two.
It's Cell.
Pretty sure he holds that shit for like 6 or 7 episodes.
It's Frieza. How many episodes does?
No, he does it on Frieza, Boo, and
does he do it for all
Cell?
three?
I'm pretty sure.
Damn.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't do it for Cell. He does it for Boo. It's Boo what I'm thinking of, but yeah, no, Cell is that's when Gohan is super badass. But in any case. It's the Boo one is the one I'm thinking of, and I'm pretty sure he holds that shit for 6+ episodes at least. Like,
so it is. Let's see. Is this Frieza? Who is this? Okay, so I really just want to know. Okay, hang on. So Vegeta, it's 2 episodes.
Still an hour.
Yeah. This says 3 episodes for Frieza. That doesn't sound right.
For Frieza it does. Krillin popped in pretty quickly on that
it
one.
Was longer than that. Yeah. And then Pure Boo was 2.
One.
Pure,
really?
That's what it says. I don't know.
I guess it wasn't 6 episodes. It felt like it. But anyways,
it felt like fucking forever. Yeah.
So for those who've probably never played it, I'm probably like the only one that knows what this game is. But it's called the Dragon Ball Z Legacy of Goku, and it was a Game Boy Advanced game, and it was basically the Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. It was effectively Kakarot, just for Game Boy Advanced, so Super Nintendo style. Kakarot is that, but for modern platforms, and it's an RPG, like level up, find items, cook, all that kind of stuff, take on quests, etc. If you ever wanted to play a single-player Dragon Ball Z game, Kakarot is a solid one. So far, I've played it for 3 or 4 hours, something like that, and I'm enjoying it, but so I'm being all nostalgic about it too. So
Z Fighters always interest me, but like I suck at fighting games, so I never played it.
Yeah,
but
same here.
Yeah, it's hard to like. I don't know. Mortality's a wild thing. Man's got such a reach; he'll live on forever in one way or another. But
100%.
It's definitely weird.
He's literally changed the world.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. But yeah, it's DBZ is. I would definitely say the games are better than the show. Personally, it's just my thought. Games are definitely more enjoyable than the show. Okay, so let's jump into something else. You got any other quick topics you want to hit, or should we jump into maybe Ghost of Tsushima?
Let me mention at least 1 or 2 more things real quick. There's a game that was announced. There was a game that was announced at the Xbox partner preview called The First Berserker Kazan. if you've ever played, damn it, the title is escaping me right now. I'm not going to worry about it, but basically it's anime Dark Souls, and this one is anime Dark Souls 2. I actually think it might be made by the same team. It doesn't state that here, but it is made by Namco, and I'm pretty sure they're the ones that made the previous one. In any case, the anime Dark Souls, it looks pretty cool to me. The first anime Dark Souls
Code Vein. Code Vein.
Code Vein, that's the one I'm thinking of.
I was like, is it Code Vein? I was trying to think under my breath.
That is correct, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else was mentioned. So the other one, which I made a mention of this in the Discord, if you guys are there, it's called Kunitsu Gumi, Path of the Goddess. It is coming out sometime later this year. It's made by Capcom. It was actually originally announced, I believe, last June, and it's meaning like E3 timeframe. And I can't pin what it is about this game that makes me feel this, but if the graphics were worse, like, it doesn't look bad graphically in any way, but if the graphics were worse, I would swear this was a PlayStation 2 game. There's something about it that feels like claustrophobic and just like small. I don't know if it's the level design, maybe it's the mixture of the level design and camera and everything else, but something about it just feels like, say, Shinobi on PlayStation 2. Something about it feels like it belongs there.
It's it's definitely small combat areas. Like, it's not open world. It's very tight quarters. And
I'm actually looking at it, and a lot of the textures are actually rather flat.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a lot of depth to it. I mean, it has a lot of foliage and density, but it is definitely not a graphically impressive game, but it's also obviously not PS2 quality. In any case, it feels like it belongs there, which, that could be nostalgic, and this is clearly a budget title for Capcom, considering, Resident Evil and stuff that they've put out. But it's an interesting looking game. Like, it almost looks like it plays similar to Okami, almost, which is another
that's
Capcom
a deep
game.
cut, yeah.
Yeah. One I've always wished got a sequel because it was such a fun game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's an interesting looking title. I don't know quite what to make of it because it's so out there. It's got like what do they call them? Yokai, the demons and stuff in it. With Shinobi is actually kind of a decent comparison, although it almost looks like it has some sort of tactical combat in it as well,
like
where
a
you
tower
can control
defense
people.
kind of style where like
a little bit later in the trailer it looks like you can control people as well and what they do. So it's an interesting mix of things.
It looks like a PS3 title, dude. Like, I'll be honest, like, the textures do not look like... what does look good, and to me, in this setting, arguably more important, is the frame rate looks really solid. The smoothness of the gameplay looks really good, and with a small
animation
arena,
quality is good, too.
Yeah, with a small arena like what they're showing here... the fluidity, I think, is almost arguably far more important than the graphical quality.
Yeah. I mean, and that's something either we said earlier or before, but basically the scope of games needs to come down, and this almost looks like the answer to that. Like, it almost looks like maybe there was some developer or a small group of people were like, hey, we have this really cool idea for a game, and Capcom ultimately greenlit it but didn't give them a whole bunch of money. This game's definitely out there enough to where I don't know if it would ever be stupid popular, like some of the games I've mentioned before. Like, it's not going to be a big AAA budget title that's going to sell billions of copies or millions of copies. It doesn't look like that type of title.
No. But, I mean, it's nice to see bigger studios giving green lights to maybe more risky games and making them more like a AA, giving them funding, but not like going over the top. And again, honestly, I think a lot of that will shift once people really start adopting Unreal 5. Just the level of things, just the level of detail you can get out of that engine that I've seen is impressive with not a lot of work. I mean, I've been watching some projects that are just like, dude, it's 3 people making this game and it looks better than some AAA games. So, I mean,
I've seen a few of those.
Yeah,
I've seen a few of those.
It's pretty impressive what a couple of guys, like, I was looking at it and I'm going, man, I could almost make like a really solid game if I had like 11 good dudes with me that were spun up on Unreal 5 if we got spun up. Like,
It'd be pretty sweet if it happened. Yeah, there was actually another showcase that Nintendo had. I think it was the 21st, so we missed that one. before as well. I'm only mentioning it because I brought it up.
Gotcha.
I had a link pulled up apparently. I forgot about it. But let's not go over that. You said what game? Ghost of Tsushima.
Game of Tsushima. It's finally coming to
finally
PC.
Announced.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, dude, I cannot wait to relive this game.
You'd be surprised at how petty quite a few PlayStation fans have been about this announcement.
I'm not surprised at all. They love their exclusives. They're not used to letting go of them, but they need to get used to it. I was honestly concerned that this one wasn't going to come to PC. I was a little worried it wasn't going to.
I mean, I can see why you might be a little worried, given it's been what, almost 4 years.
Yeah,
I think July or August is 4 years, something like that this year.
Yeah,
and so no, it makes sense. The main reason why I'm surprised is because I've always been up there pretty heavily. Well, maybe not always, but since 2007 or so, I've been a pretty big PlayStation fan, and I mean, multiple people have called me a fanboy for that. But I don't know, like, who cares if it's exclusive? More people get to play this phenomenally amazing game, and now it's going to be enhanced probably pretty significantly for PC, which. I mean,
yeah, dude, I'm stoked.
Awesome.
I actually when so they announced this. It comes out the day before my birthday, and like literally 2 days before the announcement hit our Discord, where I think you or Mike shared it. The wife was asking me, she's like, "What do you want for your birthday?" I was like, "I don't fucking know. I don't need anything. Like, I'm good." And then that came out, and I just sent her that screenshot, and I was like, "I want this." So she bought me the pre-order for it on Steam, and I'm sitting here going like, "Ooh, it's got ultra wide support. Do I need to put my monitors up for trade and just jump to an ultra wide?" Like,
yes,
you do. I'm thinking I do. There's a lot more games that are getting that ultra wide support, and I'm thinking that might be the way to go, or just buying an ultra wide or something. I don't know, but yeah, dude, I'm stoked to play this game again. It's the closest we get to a modern day Tenchu. I can't wait to see it. I hope it has unlocked frame rate. I know it had an increased frame rate, but I don't remember if it said it was unlocked or not. I'm stoked. I can't wait to play this game.
There'll be a mod for that soon enough.
Yeah.
And Logan, you're 100% correct. Digital Foundry will talk about this at some point, or at the very least, they'll compare it to the PlayStation 5 version of the game, probably even to the PlayStation 4 version of the game. Yeah. Which, at the time when it was only on PS4, it had some like PlayStation 5 level loading, which was impressive.
It loaded really quick. I'll be honest. Just everything about this game, dude. I played the fuck out of it on console.
I know. I went back and replayed it on that. What did they call it? Like Ronin, not Ronin, but whatever the hardest difficulty was, realistic or something like that, where you get slashed once and you're done for.
Yeah. If I have the option to play the game that way, that's the only way I'm playing it out the gate. I'm gonna do it in black and white. What's it called? Yukari? What's a fucking damn it? Can't.
Yeah.
You know,
so
the guy who made the samurai movies.
Yeah, while you're looking, if you're looking for that, there's been a lot of rumors that Ghost of Tsushima 2 will be announced this summer, and this almost cements that for me that's going to happen, because again, it's been almost 4 years, and summer will be that roughly 4-year mark. And it would make sense for them to announce it. Now, we do know that PlayStation said they're not going to release anything this year that's a major franchise. And I would probably say that Ghost of Tsushima is probably one of the big franchise for them at this point.
I don't know that they can call it a franchise yet, because it's only a single game. It's a big title, but I don't know if that's franchise yet. Yeah, you know what I mean?
But if they're making a second game, then it's automatically a franchise. So.
But that could be that little loophole they're going with, like, oh, it's not a franchise, now it's a franchise.
I guess that could be. That would be freaking sweet if that's the case. Right? I'd love to see it.
Hell yeah.
But I'm fully expecting to see more titles like, say, Helldivers. Not necessarily the scope of Helldivers, but like games that were either small or just not established franchises.
I can't.
Given what they've said.
I can't wait to play this one again, dude. In like native 2K with high res, high refresh rate. Just looking at the trailer again and reliving the beauty of this fucking world that they built. Like the
game was so pretty.
It's so gorgeous. I cannot wait to play it on PC.
100%. I need to go back and play the DLC for it. I never got around to playing
Kurosawa. Kurosawa.
I suck at. I suck at DLC. I very rarely ever play it. So now, even on games I absolutely adore, like this one.
Here's my big question. It does say it's got the Legends and co-op mode in it. I wonder if that's going to be crossplay. Because that would be freaking awesome if I could play with you from my PC.
I would happily go back to it.
Hell yeah. But I'm actually planning on taking the 17th off, and probably just going to jam on this all day on the 17th. That's my goal.
So somebody... Oh, that's 4 years ago. What?
So,
why would someone ask if there's a crossplay feature for Ghost of Tsushima 4 years ago? What the hell?
that seems weird.
I'm really confused by that. 'Cause I assumed, because there was a platform when it first came out.
Technically, I guess PS5 when the director's cut came out, so maybe they're not sure if the servers communicated. I don't know. Seems like a weird one for me. But
maybe they... 4 years ago, even the PlayStation 5 isn't 4 years old yet. 4 years is late
no,
this
you're
year.
right. I don't know what the hell they're smoking then. They were probably asking when it's coming out on Xbox. I saw an article today that made me giggle though. I was just scrolling through and it was about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and it's like, no, Final Fantasy Remake and Rebirth are not coming to Xbox ever. And I'm like, yeah, somebody finally fucking said it.
Yeah, someone finally said it, but also Square Enix came out and said it, basically, is what happened.
Yeah.
They said the reason why it's been so successful and the reason it's been able to literally be the game that it is, it's open world and everything that makes it the game that it is because it's an exclusive to PlayStation.
Yeah.
And not that it wouldn't be possible on something else like Xbox, it's just that they have the time. Exactly. They have the time, the dedication to focus on one piece of hardware, and that's it.
Yeah.
Which should be interesting. I mean, consider PlayStation 5 Pro may very well be announced and released this year with no Xbox comparison. It should be interesting to see.
I mean,
games like
will
developers consider that as a reason to make more exclusives and then therefore push their games even more, or who knows? It'd be interesting to see.
I saw something about Baldur's Gate 3 coming to Xbox Series X and S, and it had to be on like 5 discs or something like that. And
I think it's 3.
Is it 3?
Yeah, no, it's insane.
Yeah,
it's still insane. 3 discs is nuts.
I mean, Final Fantasy 7 is 3 discs, right? So
I think it's 2.
Is it 2?
I think Rebirth is 2 discs.
Okay.
Yeah, one of them's an install disc, and the other's a play disc. Kind of like
gotcha.
what you used to see last gen. Yeah.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Which is weird. I mean, I guess they're trying to keep people away from having to download stuff.
I don't know. But anyway, Ghost of Tsushima for my PC people. Do not miss this game. I promise you it is fantastic. If you love ninjas, if you love samurai, if you love gutting people with swords, it's a damn good game. Do not miss this one. Do not.
Not just a damn good game. It's a phenomenal game.
Yeah,
it is so good.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the best games of last generation, hands down. Speaking of, great games that hopefully will see the light of day, ? We got some good news in the world of KOTOR.
Yes.
They have escaped the death grip of Embracer Group. So reportedly, Embracer has sold them off. I don't remember to who, but they have sold the studio, Asper Entertainment, who is currently working on KOTOR, has been working on it since 2018, supposedly, to someone else for $500 million.
Which is a decent value, especially since Asper is not a major developer. At least
it's that title, bro. It's that name. It's that game. It's the potential mass amounts of money that a KOTOR remake could pull in. But thank God Embracer sold them instead of dragging them to their death like the Time Splitters guys and many others that they've killed. So hopefully that's good news for us. Hopefully that means we will one day actually see our remake of our most beloved Knights of the Old Republic. And then maybe Disney will actually give us a Darth Revan movie. But, who knows?
Yeah, that'd be really nice, wouldn't it?
God.
So that's actually one thing I wasn't able to confirm. I'll be honest with you, I didn't look too deeply into it. But when they were sold, did they keep KOTOR?
I can't imagine. The one thing. So as I haven't been able to find either. I haven't been able to find one way or the other. But for that evaluation, there's no way they sold a company that. I mean, has Asper even made anything?
Yeah, they've definitely made some games. As of what at the moment?
I'm pulling them up right now. So let's see. What have you guys made? Civilization 6 Leader Pass. They made the Tomb Raider remaster 1, 2, and 3. They made Force Unleashed. I don't remember them making Force Unleashed. And Myth
Okay,
Force. Myth Force is like their most recent game.
Quick bit of good news on this. They did keep Knights of the Republic, and they will continue to develop it. And this comes directly from Jason Schreier, who is extremely trustworthy. He's pretty much never wrong. I may disagree with him at times, but he's pretty much never wrong. So that's good. That's very good.
Yeah.
They've been developing it, as you said, since 2018. So hell, we might even see it sooner rather than later. But it really depends on the state that it's in. So hopefully, maybe we'll see an update on it since Embracer's no longer behind it.
Their last post on September 9th of 2021 from Asper on X says, we're bringing Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake to PS5 as a console exclusive at launch and to PC in partnership with PlayStation and Lucasfilms. That was 3 years ago. So
yeah,
there you go.
I'm actually pretty sure that Sony was like helping fund this project. So it's probably, just because it's been sold now, it probably doesn't mean that it's going to lose that exclusivity.
Yeah.
And hell, probably now at this point, Sony might even be stepping in even more to make it happen, because they know how seriously important this title is.
It's got a lot riding on it, man. I mean, the amount of love for that particular game and that franchise is deep.
And not just because it's Star Wars.
Yeah, it's like Star Wars is just the setting that made it so fantastic, and it's really just the golden age of BioWare and the depth of story they were able to tell. I mean, I was a big fan of the fan remake that the I think Asper, technically some of the guys from that remake went to Asper, but I'm not entirely sure.
I wouldn't be surprised if Saber didn't hire some of those guys. That'd be kind of dumb.
Yeah, so. Here's hoping we see it sooner rather than later, and I am really happy to hear they escaped Embracer, the Embracer of Death.
Yeah, because as this thing states, they are 100% cancer. They've developed so little, and they've bought up so much, and closed and fired so many people. Thank God that they've allowed Saber to leave. I mean, it's actually rather crazy to me. I'm learning here that Saber is now a privately owned company, independent company for that matter. But
I think they bought themselves.
3,500 employees.
I mean,
that's a lot of people.
That's what I'm talking about, dude. Specialists. You got whole divisions of specialists. You've got whole divisions in AAA studios. Not that I guess Saber technically is larger studios. You got whole divisions just on lighting and shadows, man. Whole divisions on that stuff, and it's wild.
I understand that, but when you look at games like, say, GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2 are developed on less than, like, roughly 500 to 700 people.
Yeah.
3,500 is a lot of people.
Yeah. I imagine that's the entire staff, though. That's probably, like, everybody. Your marketing.
Not all developers.
That's got to be the entire package. But that still is a ridiculous amount of people.
It's a big company, so it makes sense that they were able to be sold for 500 million, not just because of Star Wars, but because of the number of people that they have. Here's hoping that the new company doesn't fire.
Well, it's from my understanding, they bought themselves. Like you said, they went private. So Saber is its own company, from my understanding. They went Bungie's route, I guess, is the best way to say it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. From my understanding, they freed themselves from the shackles of death.
It says they sold to a group of private investors. Yeah. So that's why.
Yeah.
So, they probably just sold themselves to themselves.
Yeah.
Or
bought themselves from Embracer. It's like, we no longer want to be in your debt. We are no longer your indentured servants. Here's a check.
It states here again as well that Sony Interactive is helping the development of the game. So here's hoping we see more of it. That'd be pretty sweet for Sony to send, people to the development team and help them.
I'd love to see
wherever.
I'd love to see something more than the 1 minute trailer of Darth Revan we got 6 years ago. 6 years ago.
Seriously.
So, but at the same time,
it would be.
At the same time, I would much rather wait and see nothing until, like, oh hey, here's the game. By the way, it comes out summer. Fuck. Like, yeah, I'd much rather see that.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, the way Fallout 4 did it, right? Where they're, hey, this game's coming in 3 months.
Yep.
That'd be awesome. That'd be super awesome. But who knows? Sony. I mean, hell, this is technically a franchise, I guess, but it's not owned by Sony.
Yeah.
So this could be that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Holy shit. But it's not gonna. That's not gonna happen. I don't think it's happening.
Don't psych yourself up too much. Don't psych yourself up too much.
But I mean, that just makes me wonder. I mean, E3 season or
the Summer Games
game
Fest
announcement season is the Games Fest is 3 months away roughly. So like, what are we going to see? Because I mean, even if you look at the games coming out for the rest of the year, like it looks like an empty year. Empty in the sense of the later half of the year.
Right.
Like the first half is pretty freaking packed, and just like last year was. But we don't know much of what's coming later in the year, and I hope there's stuff.
Yeah.
At the same time, I guess if there's not, it'll allow me to catch up on stuff.
Yeah, there will be. I mean, there's so many projects in the works. Like, speaking of one, let's talk about Terminator Survivors. Even though there's not a lot said on it currently, that was a pretty decent segue. I'm proud of myself. I'm actually really interested in this one. I love the world of Terminator. I don't know if you saw their recent video that they put out, Tim. They did like a building the world. Okay. So basically they came out and said that this
developer commentary.
They said that this game takes place after Terminator 2. So this is like after Judgment Day.
It's before Connor.
Yeah, it's before he makes his resistance. This is like right after Skynet basically demolishes the world. And from the sounds of it, it's like people don't even know that the Terminators are a thing yet. So that's kind of fucking wild. I'm really hoping, because it sounds like it, I'm really hoping there's actually going to be an arcing story to it. So it sounds like they might do that. And I, again, still feel like the survival genre is missing an actual narrative. But that's just me.
Yeah, they're never deep enough if they're there.
Yeah. Again, The Forest is one I always go back to. It's a game that's a survival game that has a narrative, but I feel like the gameplay and the story were made in a vacuum and didn't communicate to each other, because the story of The Forest has you going all over the island, which negates the gameplay of The Forest, which is building a base. Like they're juxtaposed.
Yeah, there's not enough games that do it well,
right?
Meaning they're, like you said, they're created like separate from one another and then mashed together.
Yeah. So effectively, I'm really hoping we're going to see something here with some, because the Terminator universe is honestly one of my favorites to come out of the 80s. Like there was a lot of good like post-apocalyptic monster stuff. You know, you got Predator, you had Alien, you had Terminator, you had Escape from LA, Escape from New York. Like you had a lot of like post-apocalyptic doom and gloom kind of stuff there. And Terminator to me has always been like the time travel thing's always been my favorite. So not to mention that fucking scene in LA where the young John Connor is riding his bike and fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger's coming after him in a goddamn semi. It's pretty fucking wild. But I'm excited. It looks like they're using Unreal 5 from what I can tell. So hopefully that means their workflow will be quick. Who knows? But I'm excited to see what they put out personally.
Given it's a survival game, it's highly likely to be released in an early access state.
That's the only thing I'm worried about.
Get it sooner rather than later.
Yeah. I'm not too thrilled about the early access state of games lately. They're fine, but I'm starting to agree with a lot of people that like early access is being abused by developers. And I don't know. I can understand why they're using it, but at the same time, I'm just like, maybe just wait.
There's been a few games that have done it really well, but not enough.
Yeah. So, yeah, unfortunately, that's really all we know. Early access Steam starts on October 24th. That's what we got. I'll keep an eye on it. I'm hoping to have more free time by October 24th. Maybe I can play it. But, yeah, that's
You're not allowed to buy anything before you buy Helldivers.
Well, okay? if you look at my Steam list, I already own it. Thank you. But I haven't even launched the damn thing.
We just got mechs, damn it.
Yeah, I know. Chris was talking about that. I heard it's really cool. So.
The way the developers, so that's actually something we could talk about, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
The way the developers are handling the game is so unique, where it's a global war effort. Mm-hmm. You know, there's been games that have had a global effort before, where people work towards things as a whole. But this game is doing that in a way where there's also a game master, you know, someone that's pulling the strings behind closed doors to either make things easier or harder for players.
Hold on, pause. There's a developer is this game master, or one of the players?
Yes.
Is okay.
No,
okay.
One of the developers. Yeah,
gotcha.
One of the developers is a game master, and he's watching everything. They haven't super like specified exactly how he does this.
Okay.
And so more than likely, he's just looking at statistics and stuff, and then what he's doing is just kind of like throwing in slightly harder challenge, or in some cases making it easier for people, because there have been videos shown where like randomly other random like NPC troops will pop up, or there's a vehicle here, or there's a mech there. Before the mechs were ever available, people were having mechs because they were just there all of a sudden. And we're like, what the fuck is this? Where did that come from? What? There's mechs in the game already? What? And so like there's been other incidences where so like there's this big monster you've probably seen in the trailers. It's got 4 legs, a gigantic bug that walks around, and they're called Bile Titans. I've seen some videos where someone was fighting on a mission, and a Bile Titan popped up, and he walked around the side of a mountain, and that Bile Titan was there. And it was like, oh shit, there's a Bile Titan. Oh fuck! And the next thing you know, like 30 more came out of the ground.
No.
And like, I'm not kidding.
Time to leave.
He just stood there and was like, no, he didn't even try. He was like, oh my god, and then just got demolished. Like it wasn't even worth it at that point. But that doesn't just happen in the game. It wasn't like some accident. Like there's no way that that this is actually, the guy's name is Joel, by the way.
Gotcha.
There's no way that Joel didn't have something to do with that.
Yeah.
And sure, he's not watching individual matches, but still, the way the developers are interacting with the players in such a way where mechs weren't just added to the game and now you can use them. They actually made it
you had
locked.
to fight for them, right?
Yeah, you had to fight for them. You had to liberate a planet to have them, which in my opinion or my thought process suggests that if we lose that planet, we lose the access to those mechs.
Yep.
Because the production of the mechs is no longer available because it's being, it's not liberated.
Yeah.
And so it's something that will have to be maintained, which consider that for other features in the game down the line, where we're going to have to actually work as a team, a global team, to make sure that these things are accessible. And that's really freaking cool. And sure, it's probably a novelty that not every game will be able to pull off, but the idea of like building camaraderie with player bases and making engagement more important, as well as longevity of the game as well. I imagine they'll probably have to scale difficulties and say completion rates and stuff like that over time as maybe the player base subsides, because I'm sure it's not going to stay as high as it is now forever. But I mean, hell, this game has actually managed reverse decay. Most, like when I say most, I mean like every game ever sells the most copies within its first week of release.
Yeah.
And then they sell less. This game, however, sold double the amount of copies its second week. And then its third week sold more than that. It didn't double its second week, but it still sold more than its second week. So it literally increased sales its first 3 weeks. This first 3 weeks which is like unheard of.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, I don't know. The game has me really thinking about what they might be able to do, and then just the idea for games. It's really cool. It's something that I've never seen before, at least that I can think of.
Yeah, I mean that's something I've always wanted in video games. Is like, I love the idea of earning shit. It's actually a really old concept. It was in a lot of MMOs back in the day. We had that kind of shit.
Being able to buy everything.
Yeah, and even beyond that, just like, if you like, the idea of having to do things to unlock something in game is something that Landmark proposed back when EverQuest was talking about EverQuest Next. Like that is something that, like, when Ashes of Creation comes out, if it ever does, it's so heavy into that. Like, I think that game honestly is going to break the mold of MMOs if it ever comes out, because there's so much involvement there, and I really hope it comes out.
They still regularly release information on the game.
Yeah,
so
they're definitely still working on it. Definitely.
Yeah.
But I think the problem there is they keep expanding their scope, and they need to just get the game. I don't know.
Core game out there.
Yeah, that's my thought. But who knows? Like you said, who knows?
I mean, maybe the swap to UE5 kind of screwed them up a bit, which I'm sure it did a little bit. But
yeah, I can almost guarantee it did. But yeah, like it especially like. What was the game? Avowed, right? When we were looking at Avowed, you and I was talking about like this and that, I could definitely see how switching to UE5, they were like, this actually looks like ass. Let's completely rebuild this. So.
Yep. I mean, they just had a development update on the 29th. So
they're still working.
Over a week and a half ago.
They're still working.
They're still working on it.
Yep.
It's been, what was it, 2018 when they announced it?
God,
something like that?
Yeah. It's been
a long time.
I mean, about as long as KOTOR. I think they announced in 2016, but we got our first like look at gameplay and stuff like that in 2018. So, it's been a while.
Yeah, last time we talked about this game, you said you were going to buy me a version of it, right? So
Definitely
we can play it?
Definitely didn't say that. Again, to be fair to them, it's not a playable game right now. You're buying in to be a developer, which is like, no, thank you. You're
Actually, it doesn't. It actually doesn't look like you can buy that anymore. You actually can't. At least not that I can see. I'm on the shop. I don't see any options. It says no items available. But anyways, the game looks awesome. Here's hoping that it finally sees the light of day eventually.
Yeah. Looking at it, it's an impressive project. I hope one day it actually sees the light of day and we can play it, because that's going to be the MMO that changes everything, in my opinion.
I actually was talking to somebody about it at work like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So it's still on my mind, clearly.
Sorry to you and your cow. Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm happy to have you here, 1% at the tail end of the show. Thanks for joining us and commenting on my lies to Tim. I think we're going to wrap this up and head over to our Patreon side. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, tuning in, listening. Your viewership, listenership, all that means a lot to us. I really hope we can continue to grow through this year. We are coming up on our 1-year anniversary of doing this, which is just wild. It doesn't feel like a year already, but yeah, man, end of the month.
Yeah, it's 20 days away specifically.
Yeah, specifically 20 days away from the recording of this episode. So I don't think we have anything big planned, but just a massive thank you to all you guys. We love having your support and your listenership, and we enjoy doing this even on the days that I miss because I suck. I do miss doing this. This is like the highlight of my week most of the time. So thanks for joining us. And Tim, you got a final message for our listeners?
Yes, actually. So to make not a long story, but to try and make it quick here, I've been driving for Uber lately, driving for Uber Eats, meaning I have slightly a little bit of extra income. So for that year mark episode, which will be a day late effectively, I will be giving away a subscription to what the hell is it called?
I don't know.
Humble Bundle. That's what it's called. Humble Bundle.
Okay.
At the very least, I'll be giving away a month's worth, so you'll be able to get
there you go.
The select amount of games. It's Humble Bundle Select, I believe is what it's called, and every month they give away quite a few games, and they're usually absolutely worth it.
Yeah, Humble Bundle is cool.
If you're interested, we'll go ahead and give you details on it on a later episode, but it's not going to be simply, I'm giving it away. You're going to have to show up and all of that stuff.
Like any other giveaway, you have to participate.
Yes. So keep in mind, there will be a subscription for that being given away on that year mark episode.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We will see you next time. And tell your mom I said hi.
Yeah, don't forget that part.
Very important.